Hi, this is Natalie Lander, voice of Kinsey, Tara Branford, Stargirl, and many others. You are listening to a W2Mnet podcast. You can visit W2Mnet.com for other podcasts about entertainment, video games, sports, and wrestling.
Wait, what was that? We ever heard of some sort of mumbling about fighting after last week? You okay over there, Broadhurst?
No, I'm not, but I don't really have a choice in the matter because y'all done knocked out two of my favorite shows.
Well,
I'm sorry I was too much of a show-off. All right, I'm done with that.
We're putting our foot down. Yeah, we're putting our foot down on that right now. Stop it.
Okay.
Well, now that we've got that out of the way, good afternoon, good evening, or whenever you happen to be enjoying this last little bit of calamity for the time being. Welcome back to Life is Like a Game Show. Yes, it's me. I'm back. I'm Erik Watkins. Although, as I mentioned last week, if you don't know that by now, how many times you've heard my voice, shame on you. Utter shame on you. But thankfully, as we head into the grand finale, le coup de grâce of our tournament, I am not here alone. Beside me, my longtime cohort, the voice of reason on the kickoff, the voice of total dejected defeat here on Life is Like a Game Show, Harry Broadhurst.
Yeah, this entire tournament has just been one gigantic series of me taking it on the chin.
Well, look, it's not their fault that they have decent aim.
Shamel? Never mind.
Nope, not going to say that pun.
I do believe we would call that progress in these here parts, Mr. Jonathan Nielsen.
Yes. Is that an introduction, sir?
That is an introduction. Go ahead.
Oh, hey, yes, the pontificating pun master of the previous parlay. I think that's enough alliteration for one episode. Yes, John Nielsen here once again, convention game show host extraordinaire, and the old man of the team, the historian. Glad to be back, and I will introduce the man on my virtual left one last time. He's in the picture because he ain't surviving beyond this episode, Randy Isbell.
So, since this is the final episode, would this be considered like we're putting this on sweeps week? We're bringing in all the big dogs? What is that how that works?
Oh, no, we know. This is like the point where we know we've been canceled and the writers just let loose. I mean, you watch Double Dare, the Trebek version.
Legit popped me with that. Well played, Jonathan. Well played. Yeah, it's funny. It's kind of funny that we've been throughout the course of this tournament here. Whenever somebody has a vote when it's already 2-0, it's become the Mr. Irrelevant vote. This is the Mr. Irrelevant episode for Randy Isbell, as it will be his final one until we decide to do another one of these tournaments again. And you know why we're going to do another one of these tournaments again? Because we're goddamn gluttons for punishment on this show, apparently.
Not to
Damn
mention,
right.
there were a lot of shows that were left out. So, there's a certain second tier tournament. Well, I got an even better example. We just went through what we would call the Champions League. Now, I guess it would be the equivalent to the Europa League next up.
Well, it doesn't matter because Manchester ain't going to win either of them.
Hey, guys, don't worry. Don't worry.
I'm sorry. When's the last time Liverpool has hoisted some hardware?
More recently than you, sir.
Hey, enough. I'll bust out the puns.
No, we don't want that. Truce, Erik.
Truce. I call
Truce.
peace.
Oh, white flag.
All
right,
I
gentlemen.
believe we're here because we got a job to do and decisions to make.
We got a job first. We have to declare a winner in each of the 4 individual brackets. Let's do that with the trivia bracket. Your 1 seed Jeopardy and your 3 seed Press Your Luck.
Seriously, we're opening with this?
Oh,
See, whenever you say, "Oh, I didn't do this," "Oh, it's not my fault," "Oh, you don't blame me," you just pulled this one little underhanded, juiced media Australian government version of shit fuckery. Just that teeny little extra bit, just to get at us.
Actually, this one's on us, Erik, and you know why I say that?
Why?
Because we were adamant that Press Your Luck be in the trivia bracket.
Yeah, but again, he didn't have to start with the trivia bracket for this episode.
and this is why Jackie Gleason had to spend the entire what would have been the second episode of You're in the Picture apologizing for the atrocity that was the first. Just like the atrocity of throwing this matchup first, friggin' Randy. Oh.
You know what, Randy? It's your last episode. I'm going to let you decide the order with which we answer this.
Reverse alphabetical order.
So that means we start with JTN.
I'm the first to play my spins. Ooh. Well, let's see. You got Jim Peck. Yeah, I'm going to pull one of these motions here because it's been a while since I've been able to do a host run without somebody else stealing my gimmick. You start with Jim Peck. Did a pretty decent job from the few episodes that survived tape wipes. You got the late, the great, the man who made the show the number 3 seed it deserved to be in this bracket. Possibly he should have been a number 2, but we'll get to that later on. Peter Tomarken, who came back on the successor to his 80s hit for one episode where he got to meet some old friendly faces. But it was really Todd Newton's show in the early 2000 aughts. And then out of nowhere comes Elizabeth Banks to just slam it home with a bonus round. But then you have Alex Trebek. You have even before that Don Pardo announcing for Art Fleming. You have a show that Weird Al Yankovic made a song about.
He did lose on Jeopardy.
He did lose on Jeopardy. And
One of the contestants even mentioned that song during the Tournament of Champions this year.
So those 3 contestants on Press Your Luck, who are 3 people who've never been in my kitchen, time for the Jeopardy.
I go next. And the question now becomes is how big of a dick do I want to be? Because honestly, you can't go wrong with either of these shows, in my opinion. And the reason I say that is I have to stall for time for a little bit while Erik steps away.
No, I'm here. I was just in the background. Taking care of some alternate business.
000 tie situation here, sir. Both these shows, ironically enough, have interesting things when 000 ties happen.
Press Your Luck has been modernized to the more ADHD generation with its new version. Or even the ADD generation.
I would more say the more commercials generation, but fair.
I mean, there's definitely some ADD involved in current television. You can't argue that.
because of the lengths of the commercials and the advent of video recording.
Oh, yes. DVRs have made commercials irrelevant like Isbell after this episode.
We found the gimmick of the episode. Good to know.
That being said, for as entertaining as the Elizabeth Banks revival of Pressure Luck has been, that was not the one that had the topic of conversation between Erik and myself when we were talking about this here. Because the game show that had our interest was when they did the hour version of Primetime Jeopardy with the Greatest of All Time tournament. Do you remember that, Erik?
Oh, of course I do. I was just mentioning that the other day. Something that we personally had been clamoring for months leading up to the announcement.
To be fair, Pressure Luck couldn't really do a tournament because of certain individuals involved in playing that game, but that aside, continue.
With appreciation to Mr. Tamarkin's contributions and the excellence of Elizabeth Banks, who I will openly admit I did not like originally as the host of the revival. However, she has stepped up her game over the course of the now 3 seasons that this has run and done a fantastic job to the legacy of Pressure Luck. Brad Rutter, Ken Jennings, James Holzhauer in Primetime Variation, and the man himself, the icon of game show hostery, Alex Trebek. Erik, it may be the first quarterfinal match, but your vote is irrelevant. I, too, am picking Jeopardy.
I'm completely fine with that. Because we're in playoff time as we're going through this. What are 2 iconic words that everybody clamors for this time of year? Game 7. When have you ever been able to say that about a game show?
I could name one. I mean, you could also name game 74.
Trying.
Let Erik move on. It's not worth it.
With the way that tournament came to be and how it was structured, even ABC had to alter their schedule potentially. Unfortunately, it did not come to pass, but they had to prepare for a Game 7 for a game show. As much as Pressure Luck is in my feels, just as much in my childhood as Jeopardy has been, and even with Elizabeth Banks and the brief stint of Pressure Luck on Game Show Marathon, I'm sorry. Thank you, Don Pardo. Thank you, Art Fleming. Thank you, Alex Trebek. Jeopardy. You have earned your spot.
And thank you, Johnny Gilbert, also. Got to mention him as well.
Absolutely. The current voice of Jeopardy and the man who cemented the legacy of Alex Trebek.
All right, so Jeopardy will move on. Let's go to the stunt bracket. Your 8 seed Double Dare versus your 3 seed American Gladiators.
So I start this, and I'm going to start by voting for Legends of the Hidden Temple.
I'm just glad I vote last. I'm just glad I vote last on this one.
Because Double Dare knocking out Legends of the Hidden Temple in the last round was a fucking disaster. And I don't know how anybody, especially the 2 of you, can justify that happening.
So hold on. Hold on. So if it's a 3-way tie, do I get to break it?
No. I mean, technically, since it's his last show.
No, we're not letting Isbell vote. That can't happen. Fine.
I would have voted for Legend of the Hidden Temple, Harry.
Oh.
No, I can't vote, so I'm out.
Unfortunately, I've already made the ruling here. You know what? You know how we talked about spite votes earlier in this podcast?
Oh no.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is a goddamn spite vote. American Gladiators. Erik.
Wow. Okay. I mean, I was going to make a little bit more debate about this and, explain my reasoning, but if you're automatically going to go ahead and do a spite vote, I don't have to. Double dare.
I'm spite voting because I genuinely feel like Legends got jobbed in the last round.
I feel like I've got to reach into my Money in the Bank briefcase and see if I have an audible in here.
And apparently Randy agrees with me that Legends of the Hidden Temple got jobbed in the last round.
Randy, do I have an audible to postpone this tiebreaker?
No.
No, sir.
No, I was hoping it wouldn't come to this. This is a tough call.
I mean, if it makes you feel any better, my vote was going to be for Double Dare regardless. Now I can just add a little extra salt onto it.
Oh, you're plenty salty over there, Watkins.
I need a moment for a beverage, if you don't mind.
Audio podcast. Sorry. Course of habit.
Because I cannot make this kind of decision while I am sober. Sorry, Double Dare gets slimed.
I regret nothing.
To make another quote, Mr. Watkins, you lose. Good day, sir.
Well, at the end of the day, it's a dog-eat-dog world, so...
Oh, you son of a bitch. Hey, Erik.
Yes?
Are you saying my bumper's been stumpered?
What?
Hey, Harry, that's a great segue. So let's move to the team bracket. Where the 1 seed Family Feud takes on the 6 seed Password.
Oh, hold on. Before we do that, can I just state Segway? And you know where else you can listen to Segways from the W2M network? That would be on Get Amazon Music, Erik.
Well, of course. I mean, not only do you have all of the greatness with our podcast on the W2M network, like other podcasts like Chapter Select, which you can find at chapter_select on Twitter, like a Kickoff or Black Irish or any of the fine podcasts from Rattledge Broadcasting. And that's just from our network. There's a whole litany of other podcasts that you can listen to. And if you're not a podcast listener, first of all, why not? Second of all, okay, you have plenty of music. You have all sorts of audiobooks that you can listen to. Amazon Music has a plethora of whatever your heart desires. And if you want to get Amazon Music Unlimited, start by getting a free trial on us. Go to getamazonmusic.com/W2M network. You know it's a 30-day trial. It might, if the offer's still going, be a 90-day trial. Get a little extra satisfaction. Because if anybody knows about extra satisfaction in any of these kind of instances, it's me. All you got to do to find out, get amazonmusic.com/W2M network.
And alternatively, if you're interested in listening to just the W2M network, you can search for W2M network on any Alexa-enabled device, and it will play the most recent broadcast from your friends here at the W2M network. You can also find that stuff online at W2Mnet.com. Hey, double plug. All right.
Oh. Let's triple the points, shall we? Because you know what the password is.
s.garmer@gmail.com.
The password is hate mail. Bing!
We call that a callback in this business. By the way, if people aren't listening to podcasts, how the fuck did they find? Never mind. Erik, you start us off for. I forgot what the matchup was already.
Feud password, I believe.
Sure, sounds right to me.
Oh, this one, it's a little bit tough, but in just like weird ways. Because, well, I mentioned it like last week, all the different moments you had and all the features and everything with Password, and the upcoming revival Password with Jimmy Fallon. But at the same time, feud is feud is feud is feud. As much as I love Password, Password Plus, Super Password even, and slightly agonizing, but I have to go with feud on this one.
Feud, eh?
Mm-hmm.
So you go from Dawson all the way up to the current day. How that show has changed over all those years, yet Alan Ludden pretty much carrying Password through all sorts of incarnations where the games pretty much stayed the same with a few minorly inserted gimmicks here and there, including, yes, $1 Million Password. But it's had the stability on the celebrity side with Betty White. I mean, come on. She married Alan Ludden for crying out loud. So, Mr. Broadhurst, there's only one answer left on the board because I'm sending you to tiebreaker land.
I like Password. I do. But I go back to the conversation we had last week when it was Family Feud versus $100,000 Pyramid. If this is America Says versus Password, America Says wins. Or, excuse me, Password wins.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, Freudian slip there. As I was saying, if this is America Says versus Password, Password wins. The thing that I think gives Family Feud the edge, and as much as I do enjoy Password, the thing that I think gives Family Feud the edge is Family Feud is much easier to play along with at home. And I think one of the reasons that is because Password was one of those shows that gave the answer to the people watching, and then you had to try to see how people would get to that point. Whereas Family Feud eventually revealed all of its answers, but allowed you to play along in the process. Because you guys can't tell me that when you watch an episode of Family Feud and you see a survey, top 6 answers on the board, that you're not trying to guess every one of those 6 answers yourself.
Because the frick is that number 6 that only got 2 responses?
This, to me, is simply decided by which of these games provides a better viewing experience. And to me, advancing to the Fabulous 4, why not? It's Family Feud.
All right, that leaves us one matchup to decide the other Fabulous 4. And it's another fun one in the miscellaneous bracket. The 1 seed Price is Right versus the 2 seed Match Game. By the way, it's our only one. It's our only 1 versus 2.
So that's because these guys. That's because these guys jobbed out Millionaire super fucking early to some ridiculous show.
I mean, we're not the ones that created the 215 matchup for Millionaire and Tic-Tac-Toe, are we?
No, but see, if you're calling fraud as opposed to Freud, allow me to direct you down the golden road. We start with a price tag of all zeros, because that Grammarly is a free service, isn't it, Mr. Watkins?
Well, indeed it is. I mean,
all right, I'll admit that didn't suck. Well played.
I mean, most infamous pricing game, and it didn't get mentioned until now.
Well, I mean, when you start with a game that was unnamed and you end up going for a prize that back then, a Jaguar that was over $10,000, yeah, there's a little bit to it. But
And I can get a Viper with $100,000 on it.
exactly. But if you were to go back, say that you were doing a thesis about the evolution of pricing games on The Price is Right.
Well played, sir. Well played.
And you happen to be in a bit of a crunch and you want to get everything just right. That's exactly where Grammarly comes in. Not only do you have your most common spell check features, you can make sure you have tone, more complex grammatical errors, making sure that you have the proper sentence structure, all of these things and more, either just through the standalone software, or if you happen to be looking up something, and remember, for academics, Wikipedia is not a credible source.
No, sir.
But if you happen to be using Chrome to help look things up and type things out, Grammarly has an extension right in the Chrome browser. But say you're not working on a thesis. Say you're writing an email to a loved one halfway across the world. Say you're trying to send hate mail to s.garmer@gmail.com. Say you're trying to send tweets to any of us, making sure that we have the proper shows. And you're dogging out our Australian rules football teams. 2 of them, very rightfully so. 1 of which, how dare you? Again, beside the point. All of these things, even a resume if you're getting back into the workforce, Grammarly will help you regardless of the situation. And not only do you have these features, but you have even more features that you can unlock just by going to getgrammarly.com/W2M network, where you can get a free trial, do all kinds of exploration, decide if you like it, which I'm pretty sure you will. Again, all you have to do to start going down that golden road is go to getgrammarly.com/W2M network.
All right, JT, and I'll admit that one didn't suck.
Thank you.
I was a little hesitant after last week's Grammarly plug.
Hey, I had to redeem myself, man. That was a pretty deep hole. Like as bad of a deep hole as Match Game was when they had to bust out the Star Wheel to get people from picking Dawson all the time. Boom, shots fired. I will do it because when you got a number 1 versus a number 2, you got to look for the biggest oof on either show. And that big oof is unfortunately on the Match Game. So since this is my first vote, The Price is indeed right. I will always vote for those Barker's beauties. Well, maybe not always. We'll see more in the later rounds. Next, please.
That would be me, and I didn't even think Match Game should be in this match.
Well, I mean, we've said it's who's going to lose to X in the next round a few times on this run.
Yeah, but I don't necessarily know that would have been the case for me. Because I think Wheel of Fortune Price is Right is a toss-up. I think Price is Right is clearly the superior show to Match Game.
Also, bad play on that. Wheels toss-ups were a horrible addition. Moving on.
We'll talk about that when we get to the Wheel of Fortune deep dive, which I'm sure will be coming sooner rather than later due to the iconic nature of the Wheel of Fortune game show.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, I do think that Wheel of Fortune would have stood a better chance head-to-head versus Price is Right. Erik, you're irrelevant again. Price is Right advances to the Fabulous 4.
Well, I was going to honestly vote Price is Right, but hey, obviously 3 strikes and you're out.
I thought we were laying off the puns.
Okay,
no, you were laying off the puns.
At least that one was relevant.
All right, so we have our Fabulous 4. We have our 4 winners of the individual brackets, and now they go head-to-head. Let's start with the winner of the stunt bracket, and the one that you just decided was the winner of the miscellaneous bracket. American Gladiators versus Price is Right.
I do believe that I start this one, I think. Yes.
That you do.
JTN started the most recent matchup here. All right, so this match kind of kicks me right in the nostalgia. Because growing up, these were the two biggest syndicated watches I probably had. Early in the day, 11-ish, for Price is Right. Late at night on a Saturday for American Gladiators. I have to go with consistency here. And for as much fun as American Gladiators was over its run, Price is Right has been one of the go-to game shows for the better part of the last 60 years. Welcome to the final. Welcome to the finals for me, Price is Right.
You could actually say 65 if you really wanted to push it. So if you want take two, it's available.
I'm good.
Okay.
I will go with over 60 years and just be done with it. Erik, is it going?
I mean, he got close enough. Sometimes it's a hole in one. Other times it's a hole in two. That's
At
just
least
how
it didn't
it
go
works.
over.
And with this one, we've been talking about the nostalgia the last few episodes now. We're going with the nostalgia factor. I completely have to agree. While I was around for the original Gladiators, it's something that never really stuck with me. With the Hogan version of Gladiators, it was something that I enjoyed very much. But if we're talking my personal staples on CBS, before here in Jacksonville, they changed CBS affiliates way back in the day. And even stumbling across Black and White Saturday Night on Game Show Network when they aired the Bill Cullen episodes, I was always ecstatic about Price is Right. Something that I never haven't told here on the podcast before. This is a show that has bonded generations of my family. Sometimes I would watch it with Mom. And long time ago, before she passed, especially when I lived in Maryland, and I got to live with my grandma, the two of us would sit down and watch Price is Right together and have a great time booing the contestants. This is something that runs deep. The Price is Right.
So you could go back to the earlier episodes where I read off the names of all them ladies on the Gladiators. Allow me to reciprocate on the other side. You got the 50s run. June Ferguson, Tony Wallace. You've got the Bob Barker and the Drew Carey era. Janice Pennington, Anitra Ford, Diane Parkinson, Holly Hallstrom, Kathleen Bradley, Cindy Margolis, Gina Lee Nolan. Again, Wikipedia, not a credible source. I'm just going to intersperse that here where I find the next name. Nikki Ziering. Hopefully I'm pronouncing them right at this point. Heather Kozar, Claudia Johnson, Rachel Reynolds, Amber Lancaster, Manuela Arbeles, James O'Halloran, Devin Goda.
Arbolis for Manuela.
I knew I was going to butcher them. But seriously, and even the announcers stepping in, presenting prizes and even showcases. Price is Right spins the dollar. It's moving on to a showcase showdown. With
All right. Price is Right moves on. So our other Fabulous Four matchup is a bit of a tougher one, I would say. Jeopardy versus Family Feud.
Erik, you start. Good luck.
You're going to need 30 seconds to think about this one.
Oh, I, God,
Yeah, these are votes you don't want to take first.
no, I don't.
Sorry, you buzzed in on this one.
Fleming and Trebek, Dawson and the crew, 2,000-year-old man in the first high school's tournament versus all the celebrity, even during the Combs run, for what they did with Celebrity Family Feud. And they even went back to the Hatfields and the McCoys under the Dawson run. This is a lot to take in.
And I just realized I'm next. Damn it.
I can't lose either way. I'm going to feel gutted no matter what happens.
Yeah, this could just as easily have been the final as it is a semifinal match.
Exactly. This is like, God damn. Canadians versus Bruins in 1978. That kind of series.
I mean,
Yes,
you got
I
a
went
Canadian.
there.
I mean, you got a Canadian host in Trebek.
Exactly. Even though he's more Toronto, and I feel incredibly sorry to Maple Leafs fans.
I don't. Fuck them.
Leafs are in much of a drought as my play-in when it matched up against Jeopardy a long time ago.
With all the iterations, Sports Jeopardy, which I tried to get on, but the site crashed. The teen tournament, the college tournament, the kids tournament, when they absorbed the canceled spinoff Jep. I gotta go Jeopardy on this one. It's too much. Even with the international tournament, which they did a couple of times, it is just so ingrained in the public game show mindset. Yes, while you have a bit of an international reach with Family Feud, it's nowhere near Jeopardy's level.
So here's a new aspect, and I know my votes are relevant, but I do have to say, as an educator, there is one game show that has made my life very easy when teaching exam reviews. Once again, it is time for the Jeopardy. Sweep, baby.
Not particularly. I haven't given my answer yet.
Oh, I was just trying to make a prediction that you were going to sweep it.
Yeah, it's 3-0 Jeopardy. But all right, climb off your high horse and allow me to explain why I almost picked Family Feud here.
Fair. I'm just glad I got lucky and didn't really suffer from that blunder.
The issue here is we talked about this in the Extraordinary 8. Family Feud is one of those game shows that has massive playability, and that you will constantly find yourself playing along with the puzzles as they're up on the board, with the surveys as they're up on the board. The problem that Family Feud runs into here is, of all the shows that may have more playability, Jeopardy might have the most playability. They've literally dedicated entire apps on Google Play's store, which, by the way, you can download all of our podcast listening services from, to playing along with Jeopardy at home. Erik?
No, not just like a Google Play Store, but if you have it on certain devices, they have it to where you can play along with modern shows right now.
And even if you don't, you got the Jeopardy archive online. You can go back and replay that 80s episode.
Which in and of itself is completely play-alongable with the way that they have J-Archive set up. Fantastic source for game show fans, by the way. Highly recommend that. And we may actually end up doing a JTN versus Erik version of Jeopardy from a classic episode when we do our deep dive on Jeopardy. I'm warning you guys now. I'm Alex Trebek around here.
I don't know. That might be, as much as we would hate to do it to make it ultimately fair, you wouldn't have the chance to be Rancid on that one, Randy, but be on standby.
Are you saying that you're going to make me play along as well and bring in Randy to host?
You damn right.
I feel like I would be willing.
One condition. Whoever hosts that thing needs to grow a mustache. Because Trebek was better with the stash.
I already got that covered.
See? Done.
I too have a stash, but I also have a beard to go with it. I got the full goatee going. Which eventually, when we start doing video podcasts, you all will see. Kicking and screaming, Watkins. I'm just saying. Kicking and screaming.
As long as you don't pick Worcestershire as your safe word, you're fine. You'll be fine.
To steal somebody else's gimmick, visual cues, audio podcast.
All right, Erik, that popped me. Well played. Holy shit, do we have a final, Randy?
Yes, we do. And I do think if anybody was playing along, this was one of the probably favorable matchups that it was going to come down to, and it's because, you guys have a lot of fun with this. Your finals for the greatest game show of all time, based off of the greatest bracket created in all of game show history, is Jeopardy versus Price is Right.
JTN, you start us off.
Woo! Glad of that one.
Mr. Watkins, I believe you have one word with a very exaggerated sideways arm gesture that a baseball umpire might use. Because, yeah, this is horrible. It's the pressure of fast money, but the length of time you have to write an answer in Final Jeopardy after you've already pretty much screwed yourself up by a wager.
Whoa. Price is Right is Jeopardy, sir, not Family Feud.
Right. So, wow. Note to self, record podcast with your glasses on. First off, when you have your notes. Second of all, it's like
record podcast sober.
Yeah, that too.
That wouldn't
Then again, I couldn't make
help
these
in this
decisions
case,
sober.
though.
That's fair.
Okay, so it's like you've got that 30 seconds to think when you're writing that Final Jeopardy answer. But you're also got a host staring down you after you've seen that first showcase come by, thinking, are you going to bid or are you going to pass? I know Erik would have passed by his response.
Yep.
Oh, I'm 100% ecstatic that I don't have to go first here.
Fleming and Trebek, and I gotta say it, and all the guest hosts.
Well, most of them.
I have to consider holistic here. This is the greatest game show of all time. From a Rancid Randy bracket. Asterisk. From a Rancid Randy bracket.
Yeah. F that guy. Who'd he ever beat?
So, on the other side, you have Art Fleming. Yeah, you have Art Fleming, Trebek. You got Barker. You got Carey. You have a lot of names here. And man, I did drink too much of this stuff. God. Guys, sound like Trebek or a Trebek doing the faux Jeopardy probably right now. There's a throwback for you. But when you take it all into account, is it the homesick day from school where you're lying on a sofa, completely unable to budge outside of drinking some? In my case, it would have been a tomato soup, not a chicken noodle. Because Mom knew I would not eat a chicken noodle soup. Too bland. We were eating chicken like 3-4 days a week at that point. Last thing I wanted was more chicken, and my family knew that.
I will fat kid on some chicken like nobody's business. You, however, are delaying the inevitable here.
I know. I will take my entire 30 seconds writing this answer down, rather voicing it in this case, because the electronic pen's not working.
Yeah, my buzzer quit too in the last round.
But it comes down to another side too, and that's the part you hear. And you've got two phrases. They're battling it out in this very inebriated brain right now. And here is the host of Jeopardy! Or in other cases, for the however many thousandth of time, the host of Jeopardy! Versus, no matter who your announcer was, the three words have always been the same except for the very first few episodes.
I was about to say
when they were prefaced by the words "stand up" and "come on down." Price is Right 1, Jeopardy 0. As we move into the second round of voting.
So you mentioned the phraseology of these shows, John.
Yes.
Let's talk about the iconic music of these shows as well.
Okay.
Let's talk about Jeopardy's Think. Do, 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 do. And the opening theme song for The Price is Right. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Maybe the two most iconic theme songs in game show history. The most two iconic pieces of music in game show history. Because I guess technically Jeopardy's theme would be more of the do do do, the full version.
Well, before that, I do have to also add it's do 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 do. If you're going back to the Art Fleming era, but continue.
The more commonly acknowledged version of the show is the Bob Barker era with the dun 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 dun.
But yeah, the original Throwback Price didn't really have a theme, so
maybe the two most iconic pieces of music in game show history. And if not the two most iconic, definitely two of the 5 most iconic pieces of iconic music in history. Two of the most iconic game show hosts in history, with Alex Trebek in Jeopardy and Bob Barker in The Price is Right. Amongst some of the biggest payouts in game show history, Jeopardy's run with Ken Jennings,
$2.5 million plus.
$1 million Price is Right in prime time.
In multiple occurrences.
This is 1A and 1B. There is no wrong decision here, in my opinion.
These are 2 number 1 seeds. I mean, yes.
However, there is a decision that needs to be made. Mr. Watkins?
Don't make me. Don't make me. Not like this. Don't let it end like this.
Your vote is irrelevant.
Whoo!
Price is Right 2, Jeopardy nothing.
I mean, I am good with this. Because even going back to
Real quick, I feel like just out of sheer respect for Jeopardy, you have to throw out the pity vote here.
Oh, I'm going to throw out the pity vote to make it 2-1. The reason why, and you mentioned the payouts. Yes, you had Ken Jennings, $2,574,000 and change, if I remember. But then you had the tournament against Watson, the tournament to beat Ken Jennings. You had Brad Rutter, through his regular play and his tournament wins, taking over $4 million. And then the Holzhauer run to set up the greatest of all time. You had these moments. But then, for Price is Right, the multiple $1 million winners, the perfect bid on the showcase, which everybody still wondered, and there's a YouTube video breaking down that moment.
And the $5 versus $4 from the 70s. Can't forget about that one either.
Thank you. Which wasn't that part of the genesis of what was originally the $100 double showcase rule?
That, I think the double showcase did start at 100.
Yes, I know it started at 100.
We just recently had a double showcase at $122.
Right, because they then upped it to $250.
Right.
Because,
and then when the insurance companies weren't happy, they weren't happy.
Oh no, not to mention inflation and everything. Even that's why Jeopardy went ahead and doubled the money. But all of these things with Jeopardy, not to mention even the scenes, the TV commercials with the Taco Bell Chihuahua. What is a logarithm? You got scenes in movies with Bill Murray. What are the Finger Lakes? For as much as Price is Right has been that staple at 11 a.m. Eastern and homes across the country, this is another one of those where Jeopardy was so much farther reaching. Even a Jeopardy bit on an episode of Roseanne when they had it during the Aaron Rodgers run. It's a no-lose situation, but again, I can't let this be a sweep.
No, I think that would have been the way to go regardless of who ended up voting, how we ended up voting, in what order here. This had to be 2-1 just out of sheer respect to both of these game shows.
Yeah.
And the pure American iconography of these shows.
Iconography, even.
This deep dive is going to be a very big deep dive.
And as it turns out, our very first deep dive, Mr. Watkins, will be
our tournament winner. The Price is Right. Oh, that's going to be so fun.
I feel like we might need multiple episodes for this.
There might be just like an extra sizzle reel of let's talk pricing games for a moment, shall we, gentlemen?
I mean, if we're going to avoid a Hello Internet length podcast, I think we better.
Yeah, I don't think there's going to be any question that Price is Right is going to need multiple episodes to discuss not just the hosts, not just the games, but its place in American pop culture in general. Rancid Randy Isbell, we gave you shit, but thank you for your hosting duty, sir. Your work here is officially accomplished.
Thank you. It was a lot of fun.
Where can people find you on the socials, sir?
You can find me at Randy Isbell. Also check out my gaming and movies based on gaming podcast Chapter Select, and also check out my sports radio show that's not on the radio for the summer. Tuesdays at 6 to 8 p.m. Pacific time on the R&R Sports Report on both Facebook and YouTube.
I have to ask now because my curiosity is going to get the better of me.
Mm-hmm.
Let's put you in our seat for this moment. Would it have been Jeopardy or Price is Right for you?
It would have been Price is Right. It's the same thing that you guys talked about the sick days as a kid. I definitely watched more Price is Right than I did Jeopardy back then.
I think the nostalgia of watching as a kid carries it, but I think it's adults were more likely to watch Jeopardy.
Oh yeah, because I mean there were very few like nerdy kids like myself that geeked out on things like Jeopardy at that time. So,
Yeah.
but then again, I was also during those same sick days watching game shows in Spanish. So I know I'm way out in left field there.
You know what's funny about all this? All that talk we did about that final matchup, all these names and such. There's a few that just we completely just overlook because they don't matter in the grand scheme. Sadly, Dennis James, Tom Kennedy, Doug Davidson.
Kennedy was one of the early hosts of The Price is Right, correct?
Nighttime 70s, 80s, and 94 respectively for those three names.
Yeah, 94. No.
Randy, I can tell you right now when the next time we'll have you back will be when we determine the greatest game show host of all time.
I'll get started on the bracket.
Oh, sweet dear mother of fuck. Do you have any idea what you just done?
At least this time he's got enough time till next year to research this and give us some good quality names.
Yep,
I mean,
Jeff Probst, number 1 seed.
Bob Barker is going number 1 seed somewhere.
You threw out the name Jeff Probst. We're running you off of the podcast.
He is the host of the number 1 seeded.
Survive that.
No,
Okay.
no, not
okay,
just
you
that.
want to put him in?
No,
you put
not,
him in
not
the play.
just that. Extra requirement. All of the hosts have to be human.
No Malcolm.
Well, there goes Val. That sucks
Nope.
for.
Nope. I strongly disagree because Olmec better be in the tournament.
Olmec was yeah. Come on, Eric. Give me Malcolm. Give me Malcolm in the play-in.
Hey,
Fine.
and you know what? Jeff Probst can count because he was the host of Jeopardy for a little bit.
Now here's the rub. This is where we have to do, and I'm very glad you brought up this point. Are we talking the main or most recognizable host if you're going with the show with multiple hosts? Because technically, Randy is correct. Jeff Probst did host Rock and Roll Jeopardy.
My senses have been violated by this conversation.
I gotta throw him a bone on this one because he is technically correct. The best kind of correct.
I see what you did there. Well played, sir.
All right, JTN, where can people hit you on the socials?
Oh, hey, social media. I can do that no matter what state my brain is in. Twitter, GTN2002. Twitch, GTN2002. Facebook, personal friends only. TikTok, GTN2002. But don't expect me to actually post any content there. What about you, Mr. Broadhurst?
I am at HEB the Eagle pretty much everywhere relevant to this particular show. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Grapple for my wrestling reviews. Not on Snapchat. Not happening, Eric.
You say that now.
Sorry, had to keep that bit running. We forgot to work it in on the last show. In addition, you can find me on the kickoff here on the W2M Network. Myself, Mr. Watkins, Jason Teasley, and Kennedy Eddings. Our next broadcast will be in August. Excuse me, but that's all, folks. Our next broadcast is in August when we start our college football preview, and then we go to the AFC and NFC. For longtime listeners, they'll get that gag. And then our playoff and postseason awards predictions. Those start in August. In addition, The Reaction is available every most Monday nights at 11:30 p.m. Eastern on the Chairshot Radio Network or on the Wrestle Boss Radio Network, depending. It's a long story. I'd rather not get into it because we have to wrap this up. And you can read what I have to say about wrestling, specifically the world of NXT, by checking out the 3 R's on 411mania.com/wrestling. Tony Acero posts the article. I cover NXT, and inside of it, Mr. Watkins, for the final time in the greatest game show of all time tournament, where can people find you online, sir?
You can find me on Twitter at Squid Sportshead. There's going to be live tweeting at some point. Scheduling with sporting events has to align. As we are getting ever closer to the summer of soccer, definitely stay tuned for that, because there's intrigue there. If you're not interested in live tweeting, but in other stuff, like when we started Flame Wars, you can find me on Facebook at Erik Watkins. Guy, recliner, wine, you know what to do. If you're trying to find me with other social media, as Harry mentioned, you can listen to myself on the Kickoff. You can listen to myself, Jason, and Kennedy on Black Irish. I can try to revive soccer to the max for this summer, but just don't hold your breath. And of course, if you're looking for something extra special, slide into my DMs. Undergo a strict, proper, and thorough vetting process. You will gain access to my dark Twitter, my Snapchat, my Telegram, my OnlyFans, and whatever particular types of media I am on in that particular sense. And as always, this plug brought to you by the fine folks at Rick's TNT LLC. Website and commercial coming soon. Tutoring and tax consultation services available. Notary public and wedding officiating services available in the state of Florida.
Go ahead, JTN.
So the treasure hunt to the pot of gold is over. The winner of this sale of the century-sized lot, the price is right. Gentlemen, I have to thank you for letting me join you on this adventure, sorting through 68 game shows, 2 at a time, over these past few months. I am truly, deeply honored to have the opportunity. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, for the last time, help keep your podcast producer population under control. Make sure Randy Isbell is not choosing your brackets.
You have been listening to Life is Like a Game Show, a presentation of the W2M Network, online at W2Mnet.com. In addition, you can find us on all of your favorite podcast listening services: iTunes, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Spreaker, Podbean, Castbox. Hey, Eric, guess what?
Spotify is here.
And this is the 3 of us, myself, Harry Broadhurst, Jonathan Nelson, and Erik Watkins, reminding you that life is like a game show, a presentation of the W2M Network.